This is the Good Governance Radio. Good Governance Radio.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
Let's go. This is your radio, your station.
GGR. Good Governance Radio.
It's 3 minutes gone past the hour of 9 o'clock, and this is welcoming you to today's edition of Newspaper Review on Good Governance Radio GGR. Today is the 22nd day in the month of June 2021, and we're set to take you on another ride talking about things that are happening, things that are making headlines right here in Nigeria. I will talk politics, education, and of course security as it appears on the newspapers that we have this morning. Once again, a warm welcome to you to this morning edition of the Newspaper Review on Good Governance Radio. My name is Chris Bassi, and I'm not alone in the studio. I have with me.
My name is Ebere Chidera. Remember that the witch doctor who invokes storm in the community may never be able to protect his house from destruction. Only the seed of peace can guarantee our corporate existence.
That is a proverb from the Red Car Chief in the house. My name is Tony Ayodele. Welcome to the program.
All right, without further ado, let's get straight up to review the headlines on the papers that we have this morning. We have three newspapers with us right here with me is the This Day newspaper, and the headline, the bold one here: project appointments guided by equity, inclusiveness, says Buhari. The writer, he vows to prosecute criminals terrorizing Nigeria. WTO, Nigeria, South Africa, others considered as vaccine production hubs. Analysts upbeat about CBN's proposed digital currency. And this one says, only justice, fairness will unite Nigeria. And that's coming from Opadoku. All right, that's all we have on the front page of the This Day newspaper. Bele, what do you have there?
On the Vanguard, as usual, very detailed. Nothing to restructure. That was the statement from the president as of yesterday. And we have this response. Angry sounds. Elders battle Buhari. You can get the details in page 5. Without restructuring, Nigeria will disintegrate. Edwin Clark apologize to Nigerians. This own statement on restructuring, Okon tells Buhari. Insecurity. I don't want to hear of unknown gunmen. Lalong tells security details. Still on Vanguard, despite declining inflation, beans, Gary, show sharp rise in price. Boom. Buhari vows to punish terrorists and sectionists. 2023, APC to give 10,000 youths ticket to run. That will be all on the Vanguard. But before I pass the baton to Tony, something very, very interesting on the back page of Vanguard, talking about Vanguard Sports. CAS reduces Celsius life ban to 5 years. One of my best coaches who was banned. We shall come back to the details. Tony, what do you have for us?
All right, on Blueprint today, we have 2023 INEC introduces voters enrollment device. MTN to inject $1.5 billion into broadband expansion. And the big headlines, Sani Bello's order to special squad. Comb the forest and free 136 kids abductees. With the rider promises actions against well-organized, coordinated bandit. Amotekun has come to stay by Makinde. ABGA risk non-participation in November Anambra Guba poll. On the human angle, police arrest man 40 for raping 60-year-old in Ogun State. Finally, Buhari okays 18 billion takeoff grant for 4 specialized universities. I think that is all for Blueprint this morning.
All right, that will be all for the review segment of our newspaper. And at this point, we're going for a short break. And when we return, we'll take you through some of the details, and let's just give you insight on what we'll be talking about today. As I did say, we're going to touch the education sector. We'll talk security, of course. Our programs will not be complete without, taking a look at the security situation in the country. And talking about security, the headlines that Tony read there from the blueprints that has to do with the marching order given to security agencies by the Niger State governor to come forest and actually make sure that the abducted school children are freed as fast as possible. And of course, the introduction or the establishment of 4 specialized university by the federal government. How will this particular decision affect the so many number of students that wants to gain admission to the university? And of course, we are also going to take a look at the INEC decision to go online, talking about the introduction of registration platform for the continuous voter registration. All of these are what we'll be giving insight into when we return from this commercial break. Okay. But then you can start sending your comment to our WhatsApp platform on 0913 023 6602. And you can also stream live on our website at www.ggr.com.ng. And of course, our YouTube channel is at Good Governance Radio, Facebook at Good Governance Radio. We are available on all of these social media platforms, and you can join us and, of course, join conversation with us. We'll be back in just a moment. Please just stay with us.
Chapter systems are offline.
This is the Good Governance Radio. GGR. Stay with us.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
Let's go. This is your radio, your station.
GGR. Good Governance Radio. You are listening to GGR, Good Governance Radio. Stay with us.
All right, glad to have you rejoin us. This is still Good Governance Radio, and we are here to take you through the highlights of what is happening on some of the some of the newspapers have captured this morning. And I still have with me here this day newspaper, the bold headline here: project appointments guided by equity, inclusiveness, says Buhari, and vows to prosecute criminals terrorizing Nigeria. Okay, the President Muhammadu Buhari yesterday tackled critics that accuse him of nepotism and lopsidedness in appointment and execution of projects, insisting that all decisions about politics by his administration have been guided by equity and inclusiveness. Ebele.
I will allow the papers to judge, because I saw a publication recently where we have all the appointees, the security chiefs, and almost all the paramilitaries being headed by the North. And people are wondering, they said, just like the Security Council, that we don't have a single Easterner in. So I would rather allow the papers to judge that statement. If it's based on inclusiveness and equity, and we have that lopsidedness, no problem. I don't think I have much to say.
But Tony, what's your take?
Well, when somebody decides to do something, excuse me, he has his own reason, and I think his reason is best known to him. Though, when he talk about inclusiveness, I don't want to ask him, does it mean that we don't know what it means by inclusiveness in appointment or project? And if people are complaining that this thing is not, then they should be able to know that what he said is not right. But I believe that in a normal setting, no matter what you do, it's either you favor some people or you don't favor some people. So it's normal in life. But all the same, in a nation like this, where we have about 200 million people, some section of the country should not take upper hands in terms of appointment, no matter what it is. It's supposed to be equality. Equity is the bright thing for any leaders to do, for justice to prevail.
All right. If I might just chip in there, the president actually said the inclusiveness comes in terms of projects appointment. So I think if you're not fortunate to be appointed into if a particular section or a particular state is not fortunate to be appointed by the president into where they're expected to be. But then I think projects is another area that we'll probably also look into. Will you have preferred an appointment into whatever position that you think is juicy? Or would you rather prefer a project, a monumental project being established
sorry to cut you. You know, there are difference between the constitution has made it clear.
No, Tony, if you say the constitution has made it clear, the president a few days ago or a few weeks ago came out to say that all the states are fully represented in the Federal Executive Council. So that's constitutionally what is expected.
We have, I took you straight to like the security chiefs, like we have today. We have Federal Character Commission, remember? And we are talking, I remember when Ihejirika was the chief of army staff. They complained over there that he was being harsh on the people, that he was abusing their rights. So we know psychologically that if you are from a certain area and your brothers are the bandits and all that, don't you think that a sentimental and emotional attachment will override your professionalism?
So it's not really what I was trying to let.
Should we allow emotions and sentiment to override professionalism in the first place?
No, what I'm trying to clear out from that statement, what I was trying to say, constitutionally, it is not something that the president thinks is doing anybody a favor. It's not doing anybody a favor that, yes, even in the cabinet,
it's a right.
It's a right. Constitutionally.
Enshrined.
Now, in terms of projects, it now depends on what each of the region desire in its own region. So, whatever they are talking about project, you need to develop the country. This money is ours. And every sector, every region of the country must have impact, must have the feel of the money.
And I was expecting that as we are connecting the Lagos rail to Kanu because of the commercial capacity of Kanu, I was also expecting a connection from Lagos to Onitsha because nobody moves containers than the Onitsha traders.
I think there's a connection from Lagos to Warri, Port Harcourt, Calabar,
it's not the same thing.
And Maiduguri.
It's not the same thing because
it's the same corridor.
No, that one is a coastal line. That coastal line. Do you know that from Babish, Lagos, on yacht, or some powerful boats from Babish to Port Harcourt is less than 2 hours 30 minutes. You know why? That's why they call it coastal lines. So is that rail is going to run from Lagos to Port Harcourt to Calabar. Did you hear on each other? The commercial hub of the southeast is on nature.
Well,
There is
well,
so- there are-
I
I'm only-
have
there-
to.
there
I
is-
have to. I really have to do more research on that because from what I
no,
do
there's
know,
no.
from what I know,
I think there's
almost
which
all
means that
almost all the geopolitical zones are being connected in terms
not
of the
only
rail.
we are not talking about only the rails. We are also
I
talking
just
about
use
the
it
roads.
as emphasis.
We are talking about roads. We are talking about other infrastructure.
Okay.
So we should not just think because it's only the rail. There are other areas. Well, the federal government also, you found out that sometimes ago, you found out that some state governors take up federal government roads to repair and ask for refund. So what we are talking about, whether the president said every project is something that is a must that you have to do. So it's not a matter of say inclusiveness of this thing. Apportment is constitutional.
Okay, Barry, I think I've done justice to this day. That's just the big headline.
Yes.
there. So
Yesterday,
over to you.
something caught our attention here, where Mr. President said there's nothing to restructure. Today, we have a lot of people kicking. Sons are angry. Elders battle Buhari. Without restructuring, Nigeria will disintegrate. Do you agree? Do we agree with Edwin Clark on that statement?
Well, for me, Edwin Clark, I mean, the elder statesman from the Niger Delta, has been very, very vocal when it's come to criticizing this administration, and I've not really seen him come out to possibly highlight any positive that has come from the government. But then I think we dwell extensively on this issue of restructure. I might want to ask Chief Edwin Clark, what does he really mean by restructuring? Is the kind of restructuring that is asking for, does it has to do with the the derivation that should goes to the Niger Delta? And what about the one that has the amount of money that has been given to this particular region over the years? Are we really seeing the development that the region deserves to get?
Yes, we saw it
Under the auspices of Edwin Clark. Edwin Clark has been in the system. He has been in every government. He has always been, a vocal, individual. When it's come to, the previous administration, he has always been given, a position as an elder statesman to have a say in what has been done. And personally, I think he has not justified, all the resources. Personally, he has been one of those people that, if you want to check most of the projects that we're talking about, if you want to check, you find out that some of these projects has been handled by Edwin Clark's company. I have, a fact that I can back this up.
There is a justification. No, we saw NDDC bus collapse. That was a very good achievement.
Okay.
Do you know what it means for you to fend? Do you know the dramatic and the creative input he made to collapse and for him to walk out free from?
Well, Tony, sometimes on a more serious note, I'm from the Niger Delta.
I understand.
I've refused to take most of these Niger Deltans seriously because I know that most of them, someone like Edwin Clark, is directly responsible for the
so
deplorable, condition of the Niger Delta.
Well, I want to disagree to some extent with Chris. You see, when we are talking about restructure, and the elders are talking, these are people that they have been in this country. The place will be almost about 90 plus, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. And these are people are talking from experience. Whatever we are talking today, nobody will want to say the situation in the country does not need to be looked into seriously. And then if the president decides to make that statement, and the others, interest group, are now saying, from our own point of view, I think there's a need for it. I think there's a need for the president to also listen to the other side and ask which area. I may not know, but if you know, let's talk about it. And mind you, everybody has his own opinion about every situation in the country, or the situation or every situation in the country. But the most important thing is that whatever it is that needs to be restructured. Let the stakeholders, let them really come out with it, because we are talking about a nation. When the issue of the civil war started brewing, they were thinking it will not happen. And when the people that has that experience, even though the Mr. President was still, well, at least it was part of it, and people are saying that, let us think back. This is how it started. Now, 60 years down the line, the Nigerian nation, we still find ourselves in this kind of situation, still talking about restructuring, still talking about ethnicity, still talking about religion, still talking about I'm from the south, I'm from the north. I think there's a need for everybody, every stakeholders to really come out and make sure that this nation, Nigeria, still remain one.
But now that Mr. President is not seeing what you are saying, because I was thinking, irrespective of what we were analyzing about what should be restructured, today security is an issue, agitations here and there. He confronted the Southeast. He didn't make a clear statement about the Southwest and what they want, because some people are clamoring for Yoruba Nation, Ududua, and somebody is saying Biafra, Southeast. Now, just yesterday, this ex-Islamic scholar, Kumi, this guy came out again and said no school is safe until you negotiate with the bandits. If that statement was made from somebody from the south, DSS would wake him up this morning. This man is still talking and insisting that we should negotiate with bandits. And we are now saying, okay, if bandits have become so relevant in this country, and some people are saying Yoruba Nation, some people are saying Biafra, just like Olusegun Obasanjo said last week. Is there anything wrong if Mr. President start talking to people? Why do you want to secede? Why are you insisting on breakup? What is your problem? Than coming to say there's nothing to restructure. I think those who kicked.
There's another angle to it.
Okay.
See, the elders. You see, the elders are the one that were first of all talking to the youth, or those clamoring for certain things. In a country of ours, where we have different opinions, and opinion leaders have the right to express it, how did you channel the opinion to the leaders? Some time ago, the President Obasanjo said there's nothing bad for the president to have dialogue with all these groups. Who are the leaders of these groups? They need to be identified. The people from that region knows the people, maybe they knows the people that are fomenting this crisis, or who are their leaders. They ought to have called them to the table. Let us start. They said charity begins at home. And if the governors could not call, okay, some time ago, the Southeast governors, they are having a meeting, talking about holding meeting with the youth. These are the first steps before you now bring the resolution to the president. So I believe that the governors, they can come to Abuja and collect money. And when they collect the money, they go back to their state. If there's some crisis in your state, this thing it begins in a state. When they say they are killing their Miami, the governor of Niger State, he came by and said, go to the forest. I'm not negotiating, but go there and go and bring out these children. He's sitting down as an executive with executive power as a state governor. And he's doing his own part. If every governor could do such in their own state, I think after combing the little, if the thing had overpowered you as a state governor, then you can now approach the government and said, yes, I've been trying my own, let us collaborate. So what I believe we need in this country is the collaboration between the local government, the state government, and the federal government, so that peace can reign in this country. Nobody will just sit and say, come and negotiate. Who am I negotiating with? Who am I discussing with? Like the statement you made yesterday that Gumi said there will be no school except this one at this thing. There are some people that have intelligent reports and facts. He might be saying it based on the facts and information at his disposal. And it's just questioning the country that this thing is getting out of hand. And he has said it openly. The government needs to now call him or ask him, from this statement you have just made now, let us look into it. So we should not just ignore some statement or take it personal.
But people, Mr. Tony,
You are getting
is it
now.
possible to be a middleman between armed robbers and the victims without being guilty?
Well, at times it depends on if you want to make peace or if you try to solve a problem, somebody must be in between to solve a problem. If he has the ears of those people and they said he alone cannot do it, and he said, look, I'm not speaking for him, I'm not just analyzing his statement and his role. During the time of this Niger Delta leader, they have the leaders that are coming to Abuja during Jonathan to negotiate some of their crises there. But if he has the ears of the bandit and he now comes and said, this is what these people are talking about, this is what they are planning, and he's saying it to the people, the authority, that said, from the information I gather from these people, this is it, what can we do? When the clerk is saying that if this thing is not done, it will make Nigeria good. They are all talking from the facts available to them. It's not left for the government and individuals, every stakeholders, to take some of these things serious.
All right, I think we'll leave it at that. Probably it's talking about security, something that will still come back and you know,
That is Otumba spoke.
throw more light,
Otumba has
throw more light on it. Tony, you have your own. Paper
Well,
there with you,
it's
so let's see.
burdens, but let's just look at the issue of the order given by it's something that we've just dealt
You've
with. in terms
touched
of
it
the
already.
together.
Okay.
But I think we still talk about resource this thing. But
Okay.
let's look at the one here now. Buhari okays 18 billion naira for takeoff grant for 4 specialized university.
Yes.
I think that was there. Then they also look at INEC. What INEC is talking about is also on the headlines of their blueprint.
Okay. I think it's what we have to dwell on extensively, talking about the establishment of additional universities and, of course, the introduction of online voter registration by INEC in the build-up to the 2023 election. Let's go for another break, and when we return, we'll engage you more on the topical issues that is making headlines in some of our dailies this morning. Please do stay tuned. This is still Good Governance Radio. You can join conversation with us on 0913 023 6602. Join us live at www.ggr.com.ng. And of course, we are also on YouTube at Good Governance Radio, Facebook Live at Good Governance Radio.
Your online radio. The new online radio that makes you happy.
The Good Governance Radio.
Your systems are offline.
This is the Good Governance Radio. GGR. Stay with us. You are listening to GGR, Good Governance Radio. Stay with us.
All right, glad to have you rejoin us in the studio here. It's still Good Governance Radio, and we are bringing to you what is happening, what is trending, what is making headlines in our dailies this morning. The polity of Nigeria, the security of Nigeria, and every other thing that bothers us as Nigerians. And of course, we're trying to see, prefer our own, individual suggestions and solutions to it. And you can also join the discussion with us on 0913-023-6602. All right, Tony, see have Tony Ayodele in the studio, and Ebere is still here in the studio with me. Now let's talk about what INEC is trying to do. Over the years and over the months, there has been a lot of agitation. The Nigerian youth, particularly the NSAS agitation and the protests. One of the things that the youths were demanding from INEC was to reopen a platform or channel for a continuous voter registration. The voter registration should not just be something that should take place in an election year. And now INEC has taken it even further to make sure that the hustle and bustling at the registration, polling unit and everything will be reduced by introducing online registration. Tony, let me start with you. Are you seeing this as, a measure to which, probably in 2023, we could also have an electronic voting system?
Well, I hope so. But I really appreciate this because I won't forget in a haste, that was in 2014. I bought a beautiful shirt. I wore it that Sunday morning on queue for my voters registration at Gariki, one primary school there. And on the process of people pushing me and tossing me, they tore that my shirt, and I mourned it like one of my beautiful dogs that passed away same month. Now, if we can do this, it means that the slums of pregnant women, because my people say when they carry the dead body of another man, it looks like a bundle of firewood. A lot of people have gone through pains and their losses trying to do this registration. So many people have slumped, many people collapsed, many people were robbed just to get this card. And I can tell you, one of the reasons, whenever you go to those polling units and saw people fighting for this voters card, not necessarily that they want to vote. That's the most consistent ID card. Driver's license expires, international passport expires, but that one, once you get it, you can be sure of your banking transactions. But going back to your question, yes, it's a process. But what I have not really seen the possibility there is after the online registration, how will the fingerprint be captured?
They say you have to go to a designated
I said it. So
designated centers nationwide to capture.
So what has really changed? Maybe the number of hours you are going to spend at the designated centers. And we are still okay, let's not be pessimistic, but I hope that this will be a step. I just want a situation where somebody is contesting, want to be the maybe the House of Rep member, senator in my place, and I will sit back here in Abuja and vote, which is where your question is leading to. So I think if they can arrive at that process, to initiate that process, that would be a very good one.
And what's your take on this new development by INEC as we count down to the 2023 general election?
It's long overdue. But my question is, do you have the facility? Well, if you remember during this registration of a thing in Nigeria, you have to talk about the availability of internet to go online for you to register. You have to talk about lights. All these things is what you have to put in place to be sure. Then secondly, you need to also ask ourselves, how many people will have that time to sit down and say, let me just fill a form? They still have to go back for capturing.
And how about the aged and the illiterates in the villages?
So you see, it is a good development, but you have to look at the other areas that will make this thing to work, that will make this thing to be successful. Because if you ask me now, is it in a village where there is no internet facility? You now want somebody in my village, in Badagry there, in the core village in Badagry, to now leave a place of residence and say is going to the town to register. What effort are they making to make sure that this internet facility is cut across? What collaboration are they having with all these network providers? So it is something to say we want to do this thing. It's another thing to put everything in place. But to me, I believe, well, it's a good development, but what about other challenges? Even ordinary jam that they say you should register online. You can see the problem we have on top of internet, no network, the server is down. At times you go there. I remember a few days ago, my son went to jam office just to do change of course. He went there 3 times. What was the excuse? The server is down, the server is down, there is no light. So I believe the INEC should, we are not saying that we should not move. The e-technology thing is what is in vogue now. But in our country, have we ever prepared ourselves towards it? Because there's a lot of things about, someday will just say, give this thing, go and help me fill it on net. And by the time you fill some information, you find out that they will say the thing has not dropped. When you now want to go for capturing, that's another problem you have. Where they will say, I didn't see your form. Where did you do it? I did this so place. The person did not submit it, or the thing did not deliver. So I think they should put a lot of things in place so that at the end of the day, there'll be less issues that will come out from it.
Okay.
And they are saying that this is just for only 1 year. That is just their.
I believe it's going to be experiment. I mean, it will be it's under experimentation, and if it works out well, why not? They can extend it. But the factors you brought in, I think they are very, very relevant.
Cogent, yes.
Very, very cogent point. Very, very. So.
Okay. Before we move on this, I also want you to, to give a personal assessment of what to expect in 2020. Do you think INEC have started preparation for the 2023 election on a good note? That at least
Chris,
early preparation.
Chris, let me cut in.
That's
we don't need to.
not be a fire brigade approach.
We don't need to even go to 2023. In Ekiti State, the election is coming up in June.
Okay.
In July, Osun State, February,
Anambra,
February. FCT area council elections. These are the things that we use
to test run what we are going to.
So it's not about 2023.
But overall, the big one is in 2023, obviously. So
no,
I think because if you look at if you listen to the INEC chairman, the interview, I think not as if he played down the importance of the other elections that are coming, but then the focus is really on 2023 election, the presidential election.
Let me tell you the truth. INEC, they also partake in the hassles and challenges we have. Just like we're talking about internet, we're talking about electricity. They don't have access to another other than what we
And even
have.
the little ones that they've had has been destroyed
Yes,
in some part of the country.
The challenges of elections in Nigeria, we are never grossly on the side of INEC. It has been on the side of security operatives. We won't forget what happened in Ekiti State. Well, that picture is still very green in my memory. That was the election that brought Segun Oni to power. And we saw a police officer running with a ballot box in favor of a particular political party. You understand? Nobody is talking about Togri here. INEC is not in charge of the control of Togri during elections.
They've always said that
they don't have the powers.
Stand.
When you hijack and kidnap electoral officers to do whatever you want, when you storm the polling units with guns and thugs and threaten to kill the officer, and you expect him not to compromise. So how ready are we to organize a free and fair election? It starts from the attitude of the politicians.
The politicians.
So we are still talking about the cost of what do you call it now? That is the making politics less money attractive. So if you want to have free and fair election, if you want INEC to be at their best, make sure that what the politicians are expecting after these elections are very minimal. Provided they are going there to still pack 12 point something to 13 million naira per rep monthly, almost over 30 something million, talking about the senators and all that. I don't see them repenting from killing and Togri and everything.
Tony, one more question before we move on from these, INEC and the 2023 and on the other elections coming up. Now, let's also shift our attention to the National Assembly. The Electoral Amendment Bill has been in both the green and the red chambers for a very long time now. With all these efforts made by INEC, do you see the legislators trying to consolidate on this achievement, so-called achievement by INEC, by fast tracking the implementation and of course the passage of the Electoral Amendment Bill that could actually allow most of these things to become a law in Nigeria?
When somebody knows that what they want to, a law or an action will affect him. Do you think that person will be happy?
I eat 4 days every day, and they say we should have a meeting on how to reduce it into 2.
Some people are saying it should be one camera election. It should not be by camera assembly now. You see, it's not that they don't know the right thing. If they want to amend something that will affect the common man under first, second reading, it will be faster and to be approved. But this thing affects them. That is what they eat from. And do you believe that they'll be so happy? Some of this amendment that the INEC is bringing on board, some of them knew that it's going to affect them. So where the CSO, the civil society organizations, needs to rise up now is to make sure that even before Ekiti election, this amendment, this electoral act should have been concluded and signed into law. So that's why I'm saying that they know that this thing will affect them. We think that is why it was delayed. They were making one amendment and INEC has done his own part. To some extent, if you go through this electoral act that they're working on, it will help our electoral system. But the way it will help our electoral system, it will not favor some other people. So the people that are in power, that believe that we have the grip, that this should not see the light of the day, they will still frustrate it. But I believe that they are promising us that before in the next few months, the electoral act will be out. Let us see it, and we believe that maybe they will have removed some flesh from it and add bone that will be hard for Nigerians to crack. So That is just my own
All
opinion
right,
on that.
we await the decision and, of course, the action of the legislature. I hope they will not hurry it to the president few months to the election, and the president will once again turn it down that he has not had enough time to study, the whole process, and of course, as such, he might not be able to append signature to it. Now, let's move away from politics and, of course, to education. This morning, President Muhammadu Buhari has approved 18 billion naira as takeoff grants for the establishment of 4 universities of technology and health sciences. The University of Technology will be located in Jigawa and Akwa Ibom states, respectively, while the Universities of Health Sciences will be established in Azari, Bauchi State, and Ila, Oregon in Osun State. The Minister of Education, Malam Adamu Adamu, said yesterday in Abuja that the approval was to fulfill Buhari's promises to establish an Apex National Institute of Technology in Abuja with 6 satellite universities of technology, one in each of the 6 geopolitical zone. And these aspects right here, according to him, 2 additional universities of technology located in Jigawa and Akwa Ibom State will also be established. And he made reference to upgrading some of the existing universities to actually, be in par with some of the universities in the old world. And talking about that, he stated that after review of the policy by key stakeholders in the education sector, it was resolved that the Federal University of Technology located in Yola, Northeast, Akure, Southwest, Owerri, Southeast, and Mina, North Central be upgraded and equipped. And this is the area where I actually have my reservation. Upgraded the existing federal universities to actually accommodate, I beg your pardon, some courses that are not in tandems with a technology institution. A few days ago, from example, I actually attended the Federal University of Technology, and while I was still in school, they decided to establish a few new departments like business administration, banking, and finance in a technology institution. But surprisingly, those departments, those new faculties did not see the light of the day, because just a few, they could only graduate a particular set. So now they want to also, expand the capacity of this technology school to accommodate medical sciences and all of that. Why don't the government go straight to establish, world-class medical schools on their own, rather than trying to, bring an existing institution that is a technologically inclined institution, and bringing, courses that are, for me, are not, in that category, to actually mix up everything. What's your take on this, new universities? Fine, there's no doubt about it when it's come to the new one to be established in Akwa Ibom, but the idea of upgrading the existing one in Owerri and Akure and all of that to, accommodate medical sciences. What's your assessment on this?
Sometimes when we talk regularly, it will be as if we're criticizing every good thing. But my opinion is devoid of such or pessimism. We have a total of 170 universities, excluding polytechnics, universities, 43 federal universities, 48 state universities, 79 private universities, bringing everything to 170 universities. And like you rightly questioned, what is the status of the existing ones? The active departments in those universities, are they really functional? One day I gave a graduate of Ambrose Ali University, Ekpoma, as at then, I don't know if they have upgraded, I gave her an ordinary Microsoft Word DVD to install in a computer, graduate of computer science. The least thing you can do in that department, installation of a hardware, a software, rather. And she was running around the whole office and sweating. And I now asked her, what is your problem? She finally broke down. As at that time, I started crying. He said, throughout her stay in school, they had only 2 computers. One was a deaf and dumb on the desk of the HOD, and another one was somewhere in the department, but never functioned because they used to run only mathematics department. And just like you said, they now upgraded to computer science and detached computer science from the department of mathematics without single equipment other than a deaf and dumb computer, and the graduates from that department couldn't install something primary school dropouts were doing in Computer Village. I mean, that was your opinion. Now, when you go to these federal universities existing, okay, talking about medicine and surgery today, when you go to some of the teaching hospitals, you weep for this country. That's where they will tell you, if you go to LUT, Lagos State University Teaching Hospital, you see patients with chronic conditions sleeping under the tree. If you are lucky to get under the canopy, oh, superb. That is a glorified IDP camp under the tree, and they are it's not as if the nurses and doctors are not aware. They will be coming there with drip if you are lucky to bring somebody to come and assist you right under the tree. It's not about, but you see, when we talk about ethnicity and interest in Nigerian politics, this is the effect, this is the result. Some people would feel, oh, we don't have enough. And on the process of appeasing them, including them, that inclusiveness. Let's give you. And most often, the people who agitate for this, their primary interest is the money they will make during the construction and supplies and everything. They don't care about the next generation. So I am of the opinion that why not focus on the existing? But however, there are 2 ways to this, Chris. Every year, 1,500 Nigerian young students apply for JAM
admission,
UTME. Now we have over 400. What I know is that all the institutions in Nigeria, both federal, state universities, polytechnics, colleges of education, they can't take more than 410,000 students. So whether you pray on the mountain for 90 days and come down, every year in Nigeria, 1,100 students must be frustrated. Like we said, approximately 1.1 million people must be frustrated because approximately 1.5 people write JAMB every year, and our institutions can accommodate a little over 400,000. So that's why people will say, oh, it's good we have more institutions, but how are the old ones faring?
I'm an advocate of technical school because you see, creating this university, creating this special university, to me, is to please some certain, according to what they said, to please some certain interests. Everything is about proposal. Think and bring it and let's push it for you. That's Nigerian mentality. What is happening to our technical school? What is happening to the polytechnics? Why can't the government, the money they want to use to establish all these what is called specialized school, are we not having anyone in existence? I remember Nigerian Council of Nurses and Midwifery. They are talking about, they have their school. Why can't they be upgraded? It's already, so you see, I believe that our government does not even know what the education system should look like. They come up with every different kind of, I remember during Jonathan period, there were a lot of universities that were created that we are giving money to start. Some of them, they just use bulldozer to grade the land, not even a block. It's only in the front. You see, they just put a signboard. Go to federal government, University of Lokoja, the one that fell when you're going to this thing. Just go and see what is happening there. You just see the signboard there, and it's just few blocks of buildings. Nothing is happening there. What about the money giving? So creating more this university is rather, what about the state university? What is happening to the state university? We just continue having duplications of institution, and at the end of the day, it's not functional. What is the quality of even the education they bring there? Every time you hear ASU is on strike, every time you hear that ASU is on strike,
They are kicking again.
yes, they're about coming up because they said this thing did not they are there. But so what we are saying is that why can't you use that money to develop the existing one? Even for you to create that department you want to have as a special university in that existing all these universities, then you can now use the money to put all other things that you are talking about. Go to some of our universities, look at the environment, look at the theater where they receive lecture. So we instead of us creating this university, and another thing that you find out a lot of people are saying that regional or state, because 80% of some of these schools, they first of all give priority to indigene. So indigenship is also reason why you find out that everybody wants something in his own state.
Just like your state, Lagos rigged me out from the list when I wanted to study law in LASU.
Maybe you didn't get the cutoff.
Which cutoff? They rigged me out.
So they can't rig you up because I know that LASU and Unilag, they don't do that, but because so what we are talking about is that indigenship admission is also another issue. Where if you go to some states, especially the state university, most of the indigenous are the first come, first serve. So all these things are the reasons why you find out that a lot of people are clamoring for, let's have this, put it in my state.
My sense of belonging.
So, but to me, I believe that the state universities should cater for certain things, where the federal universities should also increase the funding. Is it what we need in our education system is fund. The funds are not available. It's only in Nigeria you find that the percentage of from the budget that is accorded to education is less than 30%. So spending this 18 billion naira to giving to specialized university, if that money is injected to the existing ones and they monitor it, I don't think that you will need more of it, because how many do you want to have? And if to add to what Ebele said, that Nigeria, they know that they need. It's just like what happened during this immigration recruitment. We know that the university know that they can't take more than 400,000. And JAMB, they need money. You can hear when a python is swallowing money.
Yeah, 36 million.
You understand what I'm saying now?
And I've been looking for the breed of that snake now to grow it in
So
the house.
they make more money, and they know that why can't you just...
They just concluded one. They generated 5.5 billion.
Is that
and from such children again, next year again, you can see that they were extending the registration because they've not made big money. So I believe that there should be a way, at least they should not allow some children to be frustrated in terms of getting admission. JAMB has been doing this for quite many years. They should have another format, because after writing JAMB, you still have to go for post-UME in the school, and they still go to charge you. Why can't you have a more, should I say, well-coordinated means of giving student admission to university?
I think they're talking about the validity of the JAMB scores. At least should it be allowed to be valid for a certain number of years? At least if you're a student and you struggle to score 250 in UTME, can you still use that same scores? If you can't get admission this year, can that score still be valid for you for at least 2 years validity?
The problem is, I think Nigerians have given up, because it's like we don't have civil society groups any longer making contributive impacts. There was a time this argument came up hot. Now, how can you collect money from the parents, talking about JAMB? You are after scoring above the cutoff mark. The universities would sit back and the polytechnics would sit back and say, you're paying us additional 5,000 naira or thereabout. Then kids have died traveling from one point, maybe from Abuja to Calabar, to go and write a UTME. We have lost students. Nobody is talking. Then talking about the standard of the school environment. It's unfortunate. that the National Association of Nigerian Students, they've decided to be the youth wing of PDP and APC. Yes, because those days, if there is power failure at the hostels for 5-10 minutes, the kind of protest you would receive in school. But these days now, when you go there, the generators are on at the lecturers' quarters, and you don't have light at the hostels, and nobody is talking because if it's a state-owned university, the president of the students' union is working for the governor, so you dare not make any statement that we ridicule the administration. So just like Akwa Ibom State now, they have expelled Akwa Ibom State University expelled a young student.
He's taking them to court
for criticizing the governor. Is the university a property of the state governor?
It's taking them
final
to
year
court.
engineering student.
Ebele, I think there's a whole lot that needs to be clarify and tackle when it's come to education system. And you just you just made reference to student not being able to stand up to defend their right. Then you look at gone are the days. I can boldly make reference to one member of the current House of Representatives, Onyofiok Duke from Akwa Ibom, who was once a speaker of the State House of Assembly. He was once a student union president. While growing up, I witnessed that guy single-handedly blocking the state secretariat, whereby nobody was going on. They brought a tanker from nowhere to block. That was when we had students who could stand up to challenge any form of injustice meted out to their fellow students. But then you go to university, you have 16, 17 years old, people, getting admissions to. Where is the guts to stand in the presence of your VC and said, "Sir, we've not had light in our hostel"?
It's not about age, Chris. It's not about age. It's about opinion. It's about opinion. When your opinion is choked by environmental and political interest, you look at during the 2015, 2019, 2011 elections. As young as they were they not speaking for the presidential candidates? So why did what if they could stand on such a strong and wide podium and platform to address Nigerians to vote for a particular candidate? Why is it a big deal for them to address those abnormalities in school?
Okay, Bella, let's just leave it. We're coming back to dwell more on the youth because the youth are saying it is our time. We want to, take everything. If you're not giving it to us, we'll take it by force. And yesterday, the vice president was saying, was giving a lot of positive in terms of what they really have for Nigerians youth. We're going for a short break, and when we return, we'll definitely take you to the last lap of our program this morning. This is still GGR, Good Governance Radio. It is the newspaper review and the analysis of topical issues that is making headlines in some of our dailies, and platforms for you to join our conversation is 0913-023-6602. You can also stream live at www.ggr.com.ng, and our YouTube channel is Good Governance Radio. Facebook Live at Good Governance Radio. Of course, I have with me in the studio Tony Ayodele and Ebere Chidera. Of course, let's go for this break. When we return, we'll take you through the last lap of our program. Please do stay with us.
Junker systems are offline.
This is the Good Governance Radio. GGR. Stay with us. You are listening to GGR, Good Governance Radio. Stay with us.
All right. We're glad to have you rejoin us on our program this morning. And this is still Good Governance Radio. I hope you've had a good time listening to us since we started the program at about 9 a.m. this morning. This is 10 minutes gone past the hour of 10 o'clock. And of course, we are gradually winding down, of course, getting to the last segment of the program. I see have in the studio Tony Ayodele and Eberechi Eze, who are here to do justice to some of the topical issues emanated from our newspaper this morning. All right, sir, we want to, quickly touch one or two the topics of discussion before we can, before we wrap up the program. Yes, yesterday, the APC youth actually held, a national convention, so to say, and the vice president was there. In that particular occasion, he made some statement that is worthy of analyzing in the studio this morning. The vice president, Professor Yemi Oshibanjo, is confident that Nigeria will remain united as a strong nation to the frustration of those waiting to see the country broken into pieces. He made the remarks on Monday in Abuja at the maiden edition of the All Progressives Congress APC Youth Conference. And quoting him, he said, in the area of disruption and disruptive innovation, the principle that we are stronger together than in little part is a sound principle, and it is my respectful view that those who advocate the breaking up of the country are terribly wrong. Osibanjo told a crowd of youths and party chieftains at the International Conference Center in Abuja, the nation capital. He said our size is crucial for geopolitical and economic relevance. People will be better served by large, populous, and diverse country. As with all big and diverse countries, our business is to make this union work and is to give everybody a sense of belonging. All right, Ebele, this is a statement of fact, or is it just a political statement? What do you make of, Osibanjo saying that he is confident and Nigeria will remain united, that the strength in population is definitely what can sustain us, just like he alluded that a particular strength to some other country, particularly the likes of Russia and United States, that has a huge population, and of course they are still remaining as one entity.
Our problem is not population. The reason for the agitations is not as a result of overblown population. China is more populated, India is more populated, and in China nobody is idle. In China, they have steady power supply. In China, they don't go on 1 year strike. The universities don't go on 1 year strike. If 2020 was to be, 2019, 2020 was to be an electioneering year, it would be disastrous because the universities, they were shut down and we had a lot of youths roaming the streets. Now, it's good to be positive. When Dora Akunyili became the Minister of Communication, she coined a statement and a slogan. He said, good people, great nation. I wish the time is not on our side. By the time we return to this studio tomorrow, Basi, we're going to do analysis of the number of youths on the street, number of youths being pushed out from the Nigerian universities, number of youths wearing the National Youth Service core uniform and discarding it and getting angry just after 1 year. This discussion is worthy of explanations, of details, but time from the producer, he can give me a signal, is that we just have to round up. So over to you so that we can call it a day here.
All right, listeners, we want to sincerely apologize that we can't continue with the program at this point in time due to some technical issues. So we are wrapping it up now. Tony Ayodele, please, your final words as we are signing out.
Well, my final word is that, like Ebele said, the youth has a lot to do in this nation. And I believe that the APC seminar or conference they had yesterday, how many have you not had in this country? What has been the result? That is just it.
All right, Ebele, thank you very much for your contribution on the show this morning. This is where we'll be drawing the curtain on today's edition of the newspaper review and the topical issues analysis on Good Governance Radio for today. My name is Chris Basi. Tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, we'll be here for another edition. Do have a great day and bye for now.
Computer systems are offline.
This is the Good Governance Radio. You are listening to GGR, Good Governance Radio.